Hello team, welcome to another ATP Geopolitics video with myself, Jonathan MSP. It's Ukraine War, I guess, addendum to my hits and losses video that just came out. This is the Andrew Perpetual loss list that literally, as I predicted, came out as soon as I published my last video, like typically the case. Anyway, some people on my threads recently were saying, oh, please can you release these after you do your hits and losses if you miss out. So if you're not interested in this, don't watch the video. This will just be a few minutes of going through the visually confirmed losses as according to Andrew Perpetual and his team for the last 24 hours from when he was doing it. So let's start with looking at the loss numbers. We've got about 3-to-1 loss ratio, which is good for Ukraine. It's about that. Yeah, I think that's about accurate. And so stats wise, that's good. Now let's look at the losses, and actually there's a couple of decoys and an unknown IFV, so you can take them off the bottom. Now the top one is a plane. It's a Su-25 damaged. This was the one that was hit by, or wasn't hit, a Lancet hit just in front of the nose of the plane that I showed you yesterday. There are talks about that being a decoy. It was out in the middle of the runway. It did have some drone protection around it, but you're thinking, it's at an airbase that's fairly close to the front lines and airstrip, and it doesn't seem to be a sensible place to keep a plane like that. So it could well be a decoy. And if it has been damaged, the damage I don't think would be significant. That Lancet did miss the plane. Nonetheless, that is on there. You could say that's a massive loss to have on that, and its value is huge. But with those caveats I've just said, I don't know if we can ignore it, but take that into account. Some Starlinks then. We've got an excavator, a couple of boats. We have, what do we have? An Abrams, M1 Abrams destroyed, and a couple of Bradleys destroyed and abandoned. So that's fairly high value equipment. We've got a Rosomak, which is a Polish provided infantry fighting vehicle that has been destroyed as well. That's the first one hit by Lancet there. So that's probably somewhat behind the front lines. And we have another Bradley damaged by a night vision FPV drone. That's some fairly decent hits for the Russians as far as they're concerned. Now let's plug that into what we understand of the Russian losses. So we have electronic warfare and comms equipment, crane trucks, tugboat. That's the one that we saw in Chornomorska. We have a TOS 1A, that's a thermobaric launcher hit. That's going to be fairly high value, a multiple launch rocket system, BM-21 Grad, and the rest are fairly standard artillery pieces, some old bits of D-30 there. In terms of the tanks, we have a number abandoned, a couple of tracked garden sheds, one with mine rollers, another T-90 damaged. We saw one from this morning's list, which was yesterday's list, destroyed. Another T-90M damaged. That's their best, most modern tank. Infantry fighting vehicles, 5 of them on the list today, so not a huge number. All of them damaged or destroyed. 3 APCs, all destroyed. And a number of trucks and civilian vehicles taken out as well. Got electronic generator, diesel locomotive damaged. I showed you that this morning, and a lawnmower wagon. Anyway, a number of Russian losses there that far outstrip the Ukrainian losses. But I think the Ukrainians are going to be probably a little bit more annoyed at their losses today than the Russians, considering they don't have as much kit as the Russians, although who knows these days with the amount of attrition that we've seen. Those Bradleys, 3 Bradleys abandoned, destroyed, damaged, and an M1 Abrams destroyed, and a Rosomak destroyed is going to be a little bit, it will hurt the Ukrainians, and it depends what's going on with that Su-25 as mentioned. So there you go, that's a loss list. Thought I'd add that one in for today, and then we can start fresh tomorrow.